Why will schools shut down? Why will the country become empty? The most dangerous warning about India's future. Imagine. One morning you wake up and feel that the pace of your city has slowed down. The voices of children going to school in the morning are missing. The neighborhood lane doesn't have the usual daily hustle. When you pass by that old school where there used to be a crowd, you see a lock hanging outside. No child playing, no sound of chalk coming from any classroom, just silence. And then you suddenly hear a news report on the radio. The country's young population is rapidly declining, the tax burden is increasing, and people are migrating to foreign countries. You stop, a restlessness rises within you. And you start thinking, is this true? Is our country slowly becoming old? Will schools really begin to shut down in the coming years? And will people leave the country? And then you realize that this is not a fictional story, but one of the most serious warnings by India's top economist Sanjeev Sanyal. Sanyal says that one of the biggest economic problems in the world is pension. And pension sounds simple, but it isn't. The government doesn't create pension money from anywhere. This money comes from the taxes paid by people who are currently working. That means the generation working today gives a part of its income to those who worked earlier. This system works only when the working population is large and retired people are fewer. But the danger arises when the number of retired people increases and the number of working people decreases. This very problem has already exploded in Japan, Korea, and Europe. And if India doesn't take caution, this same crisis can trap India in the next 20 to 25 years. Sanyal says that India's birth rate is continuously falling. 2 decades ago, in 2009, around 2.9 crore children were born in India. But now this number has fallen to about 2.3 crore, and it is decreasing every year. This decline is not just a statistic, but a time bomb that can shake the country's economic and social structures in the future. If the young population decreases in the coming years, how will the government bear the heavy pension burden? Think about it. When lakhs of retired people have to be paid pensions every month, but the number of working people is very small, what will the government do? It will increase taxes. Increase them so much that the young generation will start feeling their future looks bleak in this country. And then the same thing will happen that is happening in Korea and Japan. The youth will say, why should I pay so much tax here? I will move to another country where taxes are lower and life is better. This is the fear expressed by Sanyal, that the unbearable burden of tax may force future generations to leave the country. And when the youth leave, on whose shoulders will the future of the country rest? Sanyal explains that in the coming time, not just taxes, but the entire social infrastructure could be in danger. If the number of children decreases, the first thing that will happen is that schools will become empty. A school that has 1,000 students today won't even find 200 students by 2050. This change is already visible in several states. In many districts of South India, the birth rate has fallen so much that schools are being merged. More teachers are retiring than are being hired. And this is just the beginning. Sanyal says that if this pace continues, then in the coming decade, the news of schools shutting down will become common in India too. And this issue is not only about education. The shrinking population will affect universities, municipalities, transport, health services, everything. In Korea, many universities had to shut down because there were no students left. In Japan, thousands of ghost towns have already formed because the youth moved out and the elderly were left behind alone. Now imagine an India where school playgrounds are empty, college seats are difficult to fill, and hospitals are so crowded with elderly people that the country's economy gets consumed only in handling healthcare and pensions. And India, where the working young population is very small, and they have to pay such heavy taxes that their quality of life starts falling. At that time, they will make only one decision: migrate. And when the most talented young people start leaving the country, India's innovation, growth, entrepreneurship, and global standing will slowly begin to weaken. Sanyal says that till now, no country in the world has been able to sustainably increase its birth rate. China removed the two-child policy and then introduced a three-child policy. But the youth said, we can't afford it. Japan provided financial incentives, free childcare, bonuses, allowances, everything. Yet the birth rate still did not rise. Europe implemented the Nordic model, considered the most pro-family in the world. But even there, the birth rate stabilized below the replacement rate. Meaning, the world has no proven solution to this problem. Once the birth rate falls, it never rises again. And this is what makes it the most dangerous. The biggest question before India today is not how big our population is, but what its structure will be in the next 20 years. Will we have more working people or more pension receivers? Will our schools be full of children or empty? Will our economy be driven by youth? Or will our country have already become an aging economy? And most importantly, will India also fall into the same trap as Japan and Korea, where the population is falling so fast that entire towns are becoming empty? Then the question arises, what is the solution? Sanyal says that this problem is so difficult that no country in the world has found a concrete answer. But India can avoid a major disaster in the coming decade by taking certain steps. The first and most important step is immediately stopping population control programs. Even today, many people consider population control a positive idea. But in the future, it will backfire because our demographic is rapidly aging. The second major step is reforming the pension system. The government will have to create policies that do not put a crushing pressure of pensions on future generations. The third step is making economic development youth-centric, so that even with a smaller population, productivity increases enough for the country to sustain itself. And the fourth step, reducing the financial burden on those who want to start families, such as affordable housing, cheaper education, childcare support, etc. India has one advantage, our social structure. Here we have joint families, multi-generation support, emotional bonding, things that Japan and Korea do not have. That is why maintaining a stable birth rate may be easier in India compared to the rest of the world if the right environment is created. But the danger is that if India does not make serious policy changes in the coming decade, it will become difficult to prevent a demographic disaster, especially considering that today's young generation is rapidly shifting towards smaller families, inflation is rising, and raising a family is becoming more difficult. What India will look like in 2050 depends on the policies we set today. If we take this lightly, then the crowded cities of today will appear calm and empty in the future. Schools that struggle with heavy admission crowds today will be searching for children in the future. Cities bustling with activity today will be filled with silence. And the most dangerous thing, our country's most talented youth will be building the economies of other nations, while India will remain stuck carrying the burden of pensions and healthcare. But if India makes decisions with wisdom, courage, and long-term thinking, we can show the world how strong planning, family-supportive policies, and the right economic direction can save a nation from a demographic crisis. Sanyal's warning is not meant to scare us, but to awaken us. It tells us how much caution, foresight, and maturity we will need in the coming decade. India's future depends on whether we take this warning seriously or not. Now the question is for your own thinking. Do you believe India should take this demographic threat seriously? Could the falling birth rate become India's biggest problem in the coming decade? Will rising taxes and heavy pension burdens force future generations to leave the country? And will schools really start shutting down in India in the times to come?
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources, news from various news agencies, opinion polls, and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.